Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to another live stream with me, 320Sim Pilot. I hope you're all doing very, very well this evening, or this morning, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. We are back in the FlyJSim Q4XP. I'm really, really loving this airplane, of course, and as we've said before, I'm sure you all know by now, I did used to operate this a few years ago. Flew it for a few years. Someone was asking how long did I fly it for. Just a few years, not a huge amount of time, but yeah, it was... It certainly leaves an impression, and it's great how much of that's been captured in this FlyJSim version. So today we're going to stretch our legs a bit again. We're doing a flight not in Europe or the UK. We're going to go from Key West to the Bahamas. So we said we'd fly more in America. We're going to do a little bit of that. We're going to leave America, but then I'm sure we'll fly back at some point soon. We are on VATSIM, so if you want to fly along, you are very welcome to. The route should come up in the chat now. I think Streamlabs is awake. Yes, it is, which is good news. Quite a straightforward route, just sort of lots of directs. The plane is cold and dark, so we'll spend a bit of time turning it on, looking at some systems, maybe running some tests. But the flight time's only going to be 1 hour, so it's not a long flight. I realise that I'm actually, I've overlapped this with a few other things apparently, including the Formula 1, which is quite good going on my part. So as ever, if we could avoid the Formula 1 chat, the reason is... some of us don't see it until a bit later because we don't have it live, so that's usually why I'm streaming it. So yeah, if we could just avoid that, that would be really appreciated. I will pin a comment in a moment. I've just realised the overlay isn't working, so we'll just get that up and running. But yeah, it should be good fun. It's a bit of a different airport, and we have Orbex's scenery, so that's quite obviously very nice. So thank you to Orbex for sending that over as ever, and yeah, we'll use the Orbex airport for Key West. They do have scenery for Florida. I couldn't fit it on my hard drive, sadly, even my backup hard drive. So yeah, I see there's someone over there in a Dash 8 ready to fly along as well, which is great. So this airplane, of course, is about a 30-ton. For those of you who haven't seen the previous videos or streams, this is about a 30-ton turboprop, very powerful turboprop, absolutely no trouble with performance. It's 78 seats maximum. That's how most of them were outfitted. It goes up to 25,000 feet. If you pay, or if you choose to have the extra oxygen for the passengers inside, then it will go up to 27,000 feet. But frankly, unless you're doing longer routes or you're going over water, I can't really see the advantage. The FlyJSim version is obviously excellent. As you can see here, I can adjust every... Excuse me, I'm choking over here, but there we go. I can adjust every window blind, which is just one example of how it is. So yeah, also nice Bahamas Air livery I took off of the X-Plane All forums. I've totally forgotten the name of who put it up there, so I do apologise. But if you did make it, yep, lovely job. So jumping into the chat on Twitch. Hello, Yes Papa, thanks for joining us there and moderating on Twitch. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Yes Papa does all the hard work on our Discord as well. Smoking Haze says, wow, what a beautiful plane. Glad you're enjoying it, Smoking Haze. Thanks for joining us today. Captain Wazzo, good evening to you. Captain Wazzo has been flying the Dash, did a few Icelandic commuter flights this afternoon. Stunning plane, stunning place. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. SJ Fly said, I'm going to watch my first F1 race today. I've always told myself to watch and then I never do. There you go. If you want to get into it, then you should watch the Netflix series. That gets you all excited. It's very good. You can only see other players in X-Plane if you're on VATSIM indeed. Or there are some other networks as well. Jumping over to YouTube chat, I do apologise. Thank you all for joining us. So Jonathan Lockton says viewing numbers may be down as its World Flight is on this week. So what's World Flight? I don't actually know what that is. But yeah, no worries. We don't worry too much about viewership. It's just as long as you're all having fun and I'm having fun, then it's all worth it. But yeah, thanks for coming along, Jonathan, and thanks for saying so. Letting us know. Mark's going to be watching the F1. There you go. Ariel F, good to see you again. I hope you're doing very well. Richard V, thanks for coming and moderating. And Tom Corwine, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, the clocks did change. Mateo Chewy, good to see you. I hope you're doing well and not working. You got a night off, Mateo, so thanks for joining us on that. Richard V, thank you. And Sven, good to see you. Joseph Mitzel, lots of names I recognise here. Lockdown. Yeah, the PC specs, exclamation mark specs, and the bot will tell you. Ralph Skype here, and I hope you're doing well. Andy H1302, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you've been enjoying the music. Wild Womble, I hope you're doing well. And Emma Bentley, good to see you again. Emma Bentley has been joined us since we flew the 340 with Emma's excellent livery. Emma's done lots and lots of work in the flight sim community for the livery. So thank you for joining us again, Emma. I hope you're doing very well and a very good evening to you. Igloo Foo, or is it Greg, says, howdy, Captain in chat. Have an hour before the race. Hope you have a tailwind. So the race hasn't even started yet. There we go. And Checkpoint, good to see you. Checkpoint, get better soon. Doesn't sound like you're having the best of time at the moment. So hopefully you get better going. soon enough. Right, good. So again, we are on both Twitch and YouTube, so feel free to chat in either of those. Thanks for those follows. Thanks for that follow from Melting Lava. That's a good name. Yeah, Oliver Tomlinson, no worries at all. What we're going to do is power it up from cold and dark, and then get ourselves started up, take ourselves over there just to do something different. We might go for a flap 35 landing at the other end. Landing the dash is the mystery, right? It's the the thing with it. And you know, I flew it for a few years, and at the end of it, I remember my last landing, and I just rattled it in, and I didn't know what I did wrong. No, you never did on the dash. The Airbus, you sort of get an idea that this isn't going to go very well. The dash, it could look perfect out the windows, and then it would just shake around. And there's a few reasons why, so we'll talk about those a bit more in detail today. But yeah, let's jump into the airplane. I like doing this. If we just stroll over there. These, by the way, very slippery in the winter, especially if there's been de-icing fluid going on. Oh, that is a bit fast, isn't it? How's the cabin looking? I think the cabin stays pretty much the same. By the way, these seats are smaller. Don't be fooled. They are smaller than an Airbus's individual seats. So, yeah, there's a noticeable size difference. And also the overhead bins are smaller as well. Look at that. They've even got the scratches. Oh, it's a bit too fast. They've even got the scratches inside the bins. Very good. Maglev, thanks for following, and Melanor 2005. I hope you're doing well. Lauren B2500, thanks for coming along and moderating as well. I hope you're doing very well. Yeah, this is our first proper start in the United States, certainly. But we're not going to be here, for too long. And I don't think we're going to have any controller, so that's going to save me from the embarrassment. There is a center though for Bahamas, so that's interesting. That could be quite good. Jared, good to see you. So Ashwin, this takes 78 passengers as a maximum, which is probably the config they've got here. Yeah, just pretty full. I mean, there's nothing else to do with it really. You can't mix it up too much. You're not going to put a first class or anything like that into it. And we do have our window views. There's one. I love the shade of. Oh, there you. I love the shade of teal on the engines. Really nice. Yep. Excellent. Yeah, they've done a fantastic job. I've slightly changed that camera angle. So jumping into the cockpit. Oh, there was a new version. I thought I'd updated it. Okay, well I do apologise to FlyJSim if they see this. I had meant to update it today. Obviously we were not running quite to schedule. But we're going to go today with a slightly different number of passengers. We're going with about 58, I think it was. Let me just check. I do have my flight plan over here. Yeah, so let's select the load. Go with 58 passengers. Not too much cargo, total of about 280 kilos. So the first thing, you know, obviously we're just going to load it up properly in here. Time en route. What does this do? Total fuel. I'm not entirely sure what this is, what this is for, but I know how much fuel I want. We need 2.8 tons is required, and just to account for SimBrief being wrong, I'm going to up that to, let's go with 3.4 tons, which is loads of fuel. Puts us to quite a heavy ramp weight, 26,299, but a zero fuel weight should be around 23.9, which is slightly lower than that, so that's good. So that's working out for us. So the load summary. Oh, I don't know. Let's see what the weather is here. Charts, Key West, there it is. Right, and let's go to. Yeah, as you can see, you can probably judge by the fact that the stream started. Sorry about that. Started about 5 minutes late because I just wasn't quite where I was supposed to be. And here we go. The first problem we get is everything's written differently as well in America. G90 says, have a look in the last overhead bin on the starboard side. Okay, we'll go and check that out in a minute. Simon Forrester says, F1 or 320 Sim Pilot. F1 or 320 Sim Pilot. Yeah, it is a tricky one. I won't be offended. Right, temperature outside, 24 degrees. It's a lovely day here. Yeah, really nice. I wonder what difference this is going to make. Maybe it affects the performance. Maybe the CG. Don't know. Time en route, but it's only going to be about 1 hour. Oh, that's not working though. Oh, well, we'll leave that alone. We'll leave that alone. We won't get too upset seeing as we've already set the fuel. So let's confirm that. Start loading, please. And connect the GPU. Actually, no, forget that. We'll do it on the APU. The airplane is very flexible. You don't need a GPU for the Dash 8, and you can even quite easily start it up based entirely on batteries, which is something we'll have to do one day. I was thinking I did have a go at seeing how quickly I could get it up and running without having to actually do anything properly, and it's amazing how quickly you can get the engine started on this airplane. It'll be a really quick getaway airplane. But here we are, parked on stand 2, and judging by that weather, if I get back to it, we've got northerly winds gusting across. Now, it was like this yesterday, so yeah, it is. Oh, what's going on? What's all that banging? Yeah, loading up. Let's go jump in into the last overhead locker as we're there. Yeah, so it's quite a breezy day, northerly wind, and the runways are straight across it, so we can choose. So we'll probably go for runway 27, why not? Matteo says, I'm loving this plane so far, so much. I am now downloading 100 gigabytes of authos for Canada, Air Canada, and WestJet flight other routes. There you go, excellent. White Jedi, no, we flew Flight Simulator, not the last stream, the stream before, I think. That one, no, starboard side would be this one, wouldn't it? Ah, look at that. That's great. Very good. We actually, yeah, I was sent a plushy sort of Airbus Beluga for the year anniversary of the channel by some of the viewers. So thank you for that. But that reminds me of it. Yeah. Excellent. Oh, it's nice when they take the time and effort to add these things in. Oh, excuse me. Oh, forget that. Let's go back. Right. Okay. So yeah, so that's the plan. And let's go see if we can find a departure out of here. No, we're going to take off, go to 1,000 feet, and then head over to Kanu. So that's fine. Get rid of that for now. Let's power the airplane up. Still loading, putting the fuel on. Good. Origination before start. So this doesn't actually help you power up the airplane. This is just when it's already powered on. But it's pretty obvious how this plane works. 3 batteries, but the battery master needs to be on before anything comes to life. And from here, with this setup, I could now start the engines. It would work. It's just crazy. But there we go. Generators are on. We haven't got external power. We're not going to use that. Seems silly to get that started up when we can have the APU running in a moment. Icing stuff, all off. Not going to need it today. Although we will put the pitos on before we get into flight. Simon Taylor, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Rithvik says, I did a flight yesterday in the Caribbean islands with a 320 NEO. Did an RNAV. It was very beautiful and a good practice. Hand flew from 10,000 feet. It was my best and most beautiful flight. Excellent. Glad you enjoyed it. Right, windshield heater off, wipers off, lights are off. We'll put the position lights on just to let people know we're here. PFD obviously set to feet. Don't remember what this does, so can't help you with that. Let's run the tests up here. The dash was always a lot of tests, so interesting. No warning for that one, but the valve is closed and it does arm the bottle, so I'm going to say that's working. So let's power up the APU, get a bite test, start. In the dash, you certainly don't put the bleed air on straight away. We used to on the Airbus, but now we don't. There's a bit of you want to have a bit of a timer in it. So that's up and running. Fuel valve is open. So I believe, let's try it. Yeah. So in the Airbus, you can do a fire test on the APU, but if you do it in the dash, it does close the valve. The fuel valve's now shut. So you get this, and it just spools right down again, and you can give yourself a real headache. See if it's going to wake up. Yeah, we'll get it going. Good. So we'll let that power up, and then we turn it on. I don't want to turn on all the screens and so on until I've got a bit of electrical power, but you could happily do it. But the problem is your battery voltages will drop, and then the batteries will get hot because they've been used for the engine start, and they've been drained quite a lot, and then they'll also be charging. So whilst they're charging, you can't take off. There we go, we've got power now. Good stuff. Let us get the screens warming up. PFD, MFD, PFD, MFD, and our middle screen. Sounds like the doors are closing up over there. Andy Robinson, thank you so much for your 9.99 super chat. Really appreciate it, Andy. Andy says, excited to catch you live. I just flew Key West in Microsoft Flight Simulator this morning, coincidentally. Excellent. It's somewhere we've never even talked about it on the channel, so that is a bit of a coincidence. So excellent, and thanks so much for that really kind donation. I hope you enjoy the video, and yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel, Andy Robinson. Really kind. Let's turn on our universals. On they go. The IR stuff we don't need to touch. It just does it itself. It's dead easy. It's one of the really nice things about this airplane is that you don't have to spend too much thinking about the IR bits. Good. So generator is already on. That's fine. Engine starts to normal and in the middle. I'm pretty sure these went off overnight. Pretty sure they did, but it's probably a different procedure for every airline. Landing altitude is pretty much sea level, so we set that to 0. Make sure it's in auto. It does have that magical switch like the 737. You don't want to have that accidentally set to manual or dumb. Manual mode in this is ludicrous, but you can do it, and you can even dispatch with it, and I've done it, so it's a bit of a mission. If you have it set to manual, you've then got to motor the valve, open and close. It doesn't tell you which way it's going. In the Airbus, this says vertical speed up and down, and that means you're controlling the vertical speed of the cabin pressure. In this one, it just tells you increase or decrease the manual differential. I mean, it's not the most intuitive thing. Forward outflow closed, so you won't pressurize. Position lights are on, emergency lights arm, no smoking on, and let's do a bit of a light test. So we'll test the cautions, which is that whole panel down there, caution warning panel, and test the advisory, which is everything else. All looking good. I wonder what the big ones were. I suppose the spoiler lights were probably quite big ones. Can't think of what else is so exciting about that. Maybe the auto feather lights, really important. We'll talk a little bit about auto feather today because there was a bit of confusion about that, which I can understand. It's not something we've seen before. Packs, we're going to leave here in auto. I don't think we fiddled with the packs. In the Airbus, we turn the packs on and off, but in this airplane, we turn the bleeds on and off. But we will put the reset fan on. Let the APU warm up a bit. AC gens just stay on all the time. We don't touch those. That's quite a nice setup. And we'll have min for the bleeds while we're on the ground. Good stuff. It's only 20 degrees. It's pretty good temperature with both doors open. You didn't really need it, you know, for ventilation on the ground. The dash was fine because it's got this... Oh, it's fueling. Look at that. I like that. I didn't notice that last time. Yeah, you can open up the doors, and if you've got both doors open, you get quite a good airflow through it. It's not a very big fuselage. Not too many passengers either. Rithvik's going to do some VFR in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Excellent. You enjoy that. Right. Yeah, so thank you all for coming along. Sorry if I missed the... miss anything in the chat, but yeah, I'll do my best, and we'll try and answer some more questions in flight. Yeah, I will be flying the fly-by-wire 380 when it comes out, definitely. Oh yeah, absolutely. We are on, this is X-Plane 11, Tom, so we are on the FlyJSim network, which is how we're getting this. And thanks for those subscriptions to Josh and Damontron. Hello, Juso. I hope you're doing very well. Right. Let me carry on. Alicia's Maggie, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Right. Yeah, so screen's coming to life. Brighten those up. Excellent stuff. So yeah, so you see over here, you've got battery, and it was a big deal on the dash. We don't even monitor it on the Airbus. It doesn't show you the, I don't think it shows you the, does it show you the temperature of the batteries? I don't think it does. It just shows you the voltage and the amps. This shows you the load. Don't know what unit that is, but there wasn't a number. I think it was 0.15, but don't quote me on that. There was a number it had to be below before takeoff, and a temperature as well. The reason is you don't want them to be charging really heavily while you take off and then go into thermal runaway, because there's a risk that they could just obviously overheat. So we had to be quite careful with them. Sounds like they're all closed up downstairs. Good, let's get the ArcDo's on. These are absolute genius. My favorite radio system I've ever used. They are so good, so powerful.
Great news, Captain. Your toe's coming.
Hey, the first time we've had the American pushback. Yeah, that's crazy. Gerard says, does the APU have the same auto shutdown protections as the 320? Jared flies a 320. Good question. You mean if it senses a fire, will it shut down? I don't think it will. No, I'm not 100% on that. It certainly can't be shut down from the outside. So the Airbus, of course, has that little area we can do it, but this one, no. I think it has to be done from in here. Hence, you've got all the buttons for it lined up. But the Airbus one's very good. It's pretty automatic. Let's do the engine fire test while we're here. Foot A, foot B, handle. No ECAM, but you do get the warning on the here, and all it says doesn't tell you which engine, it just says check fire det, because you've got to look up here, so it's just a direction somewhere else.
Like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
And same for the other side, all good. Test both sides for the smoke. You spend all day doing tests in this airplane. It's just yeah, it's a joy. You test the gear horn, that's working. Get rid of that warning.
We got that winching strap and adapter hooked up. Well, let go of the parking brake when you're ready for a push.
Love it. That's great. Nose wheel steering off is very, very, very important. Otherwise, you'll power up and it will all go wrong. Let's test the takeoff order. Make sure it works. Test the ADCs. Although these are a bit hopeless to test in the simulator. You have to sort of really get the camera down here. And then you can check that all the numbers go in the right place. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, there you go. All fine. Test ADC 2. As you can imagine, this is all the first officer's job. Or it could be, I suppose, pilot monitoring. Depends how your airline does it. But yeah, terrain. You have to actually reach over and manage to do all of these tests, whoever's in the flight deck. So if you're the first officer and you're doing all these tests, this is not the most accessible panel. What we don't do is the prop overspeed governor test. So that test is done with you have to do it with the engines running. That was quite a rare test to do. You wouldn't do it every day. I think it was about once a week. But that from flight to taxi to keep the spoilers down when we do start up. Right, I think we're getting there. We would, in real life, run the trimmers all the way left, all the way right, up, down, rudders and ailerons. We're not going to do that now. And let's set up our display. So we go system, doors, system. Now you can see the doors, they're all closed up. And we got the electrics. So I think that's looking pretty good. Last things that are over here, what have we got? Windshield wiper, ice detect lights. Talk about that later. Lights, circuit breaker lights, transmit button. So this is just your radio transmit. We got oxygen if we need it. and the forward outflow valve should be shut and guarded, very important, or it won't pressurize. And we've got the de-icing pressure, not going to power up until we have AC power, I think. These turn on with the AC generators, I think. Oh, I'm pretty sure. That's testing my knowledge, though. I don't know why I'm saying these things. Good evening, Billy. I hope you're doing very well. GPWS landing flap switch, yeah. So this has standard and steep. Obviously, we're doing standard today. You can set that to steep if you're doing London City sort of thing, and you can set this to wherever you feel like. We're going to have it at 35 today. I think we'll do something slightly different. Rithvik has a question about the PTU. Why does the PTU make a sound only in the 320 models but not other? No, the PTU is very loud in the dash. If you sit in the wings, you can hear it, and they modeled it on this as well, which is really good. So yeah, you can hear it. It's just as loud on the dash. It's just not quite as an exciting noise because it's just sort of constant drone in this airplane. Thanks so much, Duncan, for the 5 Swiss franc donation or super chat. I really appreciate it, Duncan. Duncan says, great stream. Can you say hello to my wife, Oxy? She doesn't have the same passion as us for aviation, so maybe hello from you would help. Well, thank you very much, Duncan, for that very kind super chat. Really appreciate it. And hello to Oxy. I hope you enjoy the stream if you're being forced to watch it, and, or I hope you can get a break from it if you don't want to be listening to my voice all day. But thank you for coming along, and thank you, Duncan, for that very kind super chat. And hello to Oxy. Right. Rithvik says the 350 or 380 doesn't make the sound like the barking. No, but they're bigger, so you're probably sitting further away. The dash is quite small, so the hydraulic pipe's going to be pretty close to you when you're sitting in the cabin, especially between the wings, the most common place. Mateo says, over Poland in the Dash 8 at the moment, and a nice tailwind pushing me at 435 ground speed. Very nice indeed. Right, so let's load up. I think that's about time. So we're going to zoom over here. Accept. Message is going to say database expired, not worried. And now you can watch me struggle again to do all of this right. So Key West, and we're going to MY. Straight away, unbelievable. MINN, enter, which is Linden Pindling International, enter. Goods, route-wise, we're going to take off. Now I'm sure there's a way to put in some sort of a departure, but we're going to depart from runway 27. So let's just put number 2 in. No SID, flight plan. Yeah, so I don't know if that does anything at all. We shall see. But from there, we're going to go to Kanu. Done it again. It's amazing. And once upon a time, I was the opposite. So when I got onto the Airbus, of course, I struggled to not be pressing next to things, trying to type into them. Thanks for the follow. B5 Kitty. I thought I had updated it, but obviously not. So I will one day. Then Mike Tango Hotel. Super easy route today. Then Rajay, thanks for those follows. Rajay. And then MIN. Don't think it has any arrivals. So menu, arrive. Not sure which runway we want yet. We didn't have any star loaded in. This reckon runway 32 for some reason. So let's put that in. No star. So it's only got VORs. And an RNF for 3-2. Ooh, what does that mean? Why does it say W? Why does it say W? I'm imagining that means GPS required, or is that the G? Oh, I do. Once upon a time I knew this. I should be reading. The FlyJSim provide a whole manual for this universal box. But I recognise that. That's funny. That rings a bell. But anyway, we'll start with the RNF 3-2 because I'm interested in trying it out. Transition. Oh, don't do this to us now. Let's skip that for now. We'll do that in flight. Good. Right, there we go. So there's a bit of a route, pretty straightforward. And I'm sure there's a way to type in a waypoint just sort of straight ahead, but we're not going to need it. We're going to take off and go direct to Kanu. In the fuel box then, we said, let's see how our loading's going. We had 58 passengers. Select. Excellent. Remembered. 58. Enter cargo. I wish it would show you cargo here. Oh, was that total cargo? 287, that was it, wasn't it? 287. I remember it, so that's, yeah, it does show you there. I'm just not paying enough attention. And then we've got 3.4 tons of fuel. Good, 27-ton takeoff weight, perfectly reasonable, nothing too heavy this time. What we will do is just bring up our charts. Rithvik says, RNF approach more exciting than Atis. Yeah, very good. I do play Microsoft Flight Simulator, indeed. There's Miami Center on now. So are we going to speak to them, Lauren? Lauren's also our VATSIM expert, so we'll soon find out. I think Lauren's cries of how to trying to help me often get lost, and then I ended up doing the wrong thing anyway. Let's see, alternate 600. So I do apologise, Lauren, if I breach VATSIM rules. Very easily done. Holding fuel, I'm going to count that as final reserve fuel, 651. Extra, don't need any extra in there. So there we go. That should have all worked now. If we scroll through, thanks for the follows. Nothing too interesting. Lots of that will come to life when we start up. Performance is for in-flight. It's not like we expect on the Airbus where it gives us loads of information. Nav, well, we're going to take off, and you can see it's already sequenced. It's got magenta Kanu, so it's already sequenced to the first waypoint. So that's good. So nothing too exciting to do there. Good. So being a less automated airplane, we are going to set up our displays accordingly. So I'm going to put my course to the west. What's the runway heading? It's runway 27, but the wind is from the right. So I'm going to put the heading berg to face slightly to the right. So when we take off, we've got a bit of that drift because I'm not expecting to fly directly heading 270. So we'll put that in. We'll climb to 5,000 feet initially. I'm assuming the transition altitude here is going to be up at 18,000. Is that right? Being in America. I'm pretty sure anyway. Next video, Chedley would like it to be about RNAV charts. No, so then I've got a couple of videos. We've got a video on fix info, which is almost ready. We've got a video on setting up your controls for this, because I know a few people have been asking how to get the power levers and so on set up properly, because it's not very intuitive or very obvious unless you spend a bit of time on it. So hopefully that video will be up later tonight, I know, because people are obviously using this airplane now and want help with that. So I will be showing how I've got it set up. I've also got one on, what was the other video? Oh, I've got another challenging approach to do, or I've already made it. So that video will be up fairly soon as well, which should be quite good fun. 18,000 feet indeed. Thanks, Robin. Always 18,000. Perfect. Right. So yeah, so 5,000 feet should cover us for this. We just don't really have any charts, but it doesn't look like there's much terrain around, especially if you look outside. You guys are going to know much more about this than me now, because I'm well out of my comfort zone. Yeah, we'll taxi over there to 27. So we'll do 2-engine start, then just drive off the stand. We don't even need the pushback, actually. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't push back off this one. So let's get rid of them.
And we're disconnecting the tow.
Thank you.
Just a moment.
Oh, well, we got to enjoy the lovely voice anyway. Lowering the nose. Good stuff. Yeah, so we'll go to 5,000 feet. I'll put the nav source to FMS 1. So it's off to the right behind us. And if we go to, let's just check the nav page, see what it looks like. Disconnect. Yeah, it's off behind us, and we decided if we hold formats. No, that's not what I wanted. That's how you set the thing. Where is it? If I just tap it, there we go. Yeah, Kanu's back over our right shoulder. So expecting a right turnout. Nothing too shocking there. So we go 5,000 feet initially. We are going to cruise today.
And we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the right. Take it easy.
23,000. Good, so there you go. Q&H. Uh-oh. Altimeter 3007. Oh. Easy. Right. 3007, which would make sense. Just about just sea level. They should be synchronized. Good. I thought for a second I was going to have to figure out how to do some converting. Brady says, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. We'll talk about the minimum when we get going. At the other end. Good. Right, so 5,000 feet. And the thing we want is we want to have go around. Maybe it doesn't work until we're powered up. I can't remember when we set it. We'll eventually have it saying go around heading and outsail, because we definitely want outsail. But maybe that comes, maybe it won't work just yet. Thanks, Edge Rider, for the follow. Okay. Let's get some bleed air on just to help out the passengers for a little bit. Quick brief. We're going to take pushback. So we're not. We're going to start up, taxi out, head out on Alpha, take off from runway 27. It's quite a short runway, so I think today, for a bit of fun, we're going to do a flat 15 takeoff. Sorry, no, let's do a flat 10. Flat 10 takeoff with the bleeds off, which is pretty normal for this airplane. So yeah, shorter runways you can use 10. I think it can take off at 15 as well. Pretty sure. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to do a 10. Marginal difference. And then we can take off, climb to 5,000 feet. After 1,000 feet, I'll make my right turn over to Kanu. MSAs are quite low, as we can see. There's not too much terrain around here. In fact, do we have any other charts? Nope. These are just sort of extra info. Quite nice, but yeah, no, none of those. Weather's obviously a big deal here. There's lots of talk about it, as you can imagine. Let's have a look at the approach side of 27. Yeah, look at that. So the MSA. Oh wow, 15,000. That's amazing. Is there something on the other end of the runway that we need to know about? Nope. Oh well, there you go. Transition level 180, transition altitude 18,000. So in America, it doesn't change at all. That's interesting because it's not terrain limited, whereas in Europe it does. Yeah, very different, but makes sense really. Anyway, right. So that's it. Taxi out, flat 10 takeoff. Nothing too exciting there. We fired our flight plan with air traffic control. Let's run our checklist then. So reset fan is on. External check complete. Alternate gear doors. So that is this panel, but it's also this panel up here. All got to be closed and the little switch down. It's a very complicated alternate gear procedure, but it's very good apparently. It does work. So that's all done. Flight deck preparation is completed. Briefing completed. Before start, circuit breakers, check. They're all over on the FO side. Incredibly easy to miss a circuit breaker, but that's true of most aircraft. Look at that. It looks really obvious there. I promise you it isn't, especially because you don't look at it side on. You don't look at it a bit like that. In fact, if your head's here, that's how you look at it. So, you know, good luck picking the circuit breakers that have popped out of that. Thank you to Strandheim for the 50 knock super chat. Really appreciate it. Strandheim says, oh, good to see some tropical scenery and feel warm. Greetings from snowy Norway. Yes, that's one of the reasons I do this. And you'll see from my challenging approach video, I also pick somewhere sunny on purpose. But thanks so much. Really appreciate it. It's incredibly generous. Thanks so much for 50 knock donation and for supporting the channel. Really very kind. And Noah as well. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Noah says, hey dude, having fun watching the streams. In order to arm the GA mode, pretty sure you have to arm an autopilot function such as nav. I see. Thank you very much, Noah. That would make sense. So yeah, we'll do that after we've started up. Yeah, thank you so much to Strandheim for that very generous 50 knock donation, and also to Noah for your $5 donation as well. It's very kind. Thank you for supporting the channel, and yeah, thanks for the tip on the go around mode. And I'm agreed. Yeah, it's nice to be somewhere sunny. So yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you. There is a weather balloon on a wire up to 14,000 feet, 14 miles northeast of the airport. Ah, very good, Dave. Thank you very much. So I told you, you guys tell me everything. Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, we don't want to hit that. So we won't go 14 miles out. We'll try and stay within that. Gerald says, run your hand over the circuit breakers, and if one is popped, you'll feel it. Exactly, yeah, and that's what you end up doing, because from here, there's that one. It's amazing. They're all simulated. That one. I did a few, didn't I? That one. Okay. Anyway, they were all in, and we've pulled them out. One more. There we go. Maybe we'll try and pull a few of these. These are the sort of the really big ones up here. This is like bus bars, pitot heats, and so on. Down here, you've got all sorts. You can pull the clocks. Great. Anyway, I digress. So, passenger signs are on. Circuit breakers are checked. Sorry, passenger signs can come on. Emergency lights are armed. Anti-skid. We didn't do the anti-skids. That's why the checklist. And it gets rid of the warning light. There is a warning light up there for it. There you go. Ding. So we'll leave that on. And you can see that the caution keeps flashing, even though we got rid of it up there. It's just nowhere near as advanced as ECAM. Anti-skid. Fuel transfer quantity off in the middle and checked. And we got the right amount. You can see even it's gone down slightly in the left-hand tank, because just like the Airbus, and very traditional actually, the APU gets its fuel from the left-hand tank. Very, very normal. It's funny how common that is. Don't think it doesn't pictorially show it. I'm pretty sure we could transfer fuel even sitting here. No, maybe we need the AC gens to get those fuel pumps running. It's such a good transfer system. Right, let's get back. System, doors, system. Good. Anyway, yeah. Emergency brake pressure on. Checked. Power levers are at disc. Collision levers are at fuel off. And takeoff data reviewed. plonk that in, and we'll do the rest. So let's try. If we put in heading, put in outsail, and if we press GA, no. Yeah, it is. Put wings level. Yeah, there we go. Go around heading outsail. Thanks very much. So yeah, I had to activate it up here. Your damper can come on now, I think. I don't see why not. Once the IRs are aligned. There we go. Murph says, bring your memories back. Flew KISM to Key West in a Cessna 172 in 2008. Excellent. That sounds good fun. The Legendsy says, hi, which simulator do you think is now the most realistic that comes near to real life in flight physics? I ask because I'd buy a flight simulator for the first time. It's such a hard question. It just depends in which airplane you're using, really. It really does. So it depends on what airplane you're interested in, and then if you're going to pay for it yourself, because there are obviously some that are more well-tuned than others. And someone's asking, sorry, don't forget the CBs back in. Thanks, Robin. Yeah, we've done that. Someone was saying, does it have auto brake? No, zero auto brake, all manual. So you can see an Airbus with medium auto brake stops almost as quickly as this thing, because doing it manually, it was never that quick. Billy says, great video. I've been really enjoying the Q4XP videos. Used to fly on the Q400 as a passenger 4 times a month for 4 years. Sounds take me right back. Thanks, Billy. And yeah, the sounds are amazing. They are spot on. We are indeed on FlyJSim, Brady. Right, takeoff data is reviewed. That's the before start checklist. Next will be start approved. I don't think we need to call startup on FlyJSim. Lauren V will tell us. I can hear somebody has, probably our colleague over there, but I don't see the point. Obviously, in real life, you get start from air traffic. So let's say that we're cleared for start. So all the batteries are on. Door fueling lights are all out. The fueling light is up here. So if they're refueling outside, a little panel drops down, and one of these lights, you can actually see if I put it to test. Where is it? Fueling on. There you go. It's down here. A little fueling on light comes on. It doesn't actually mean much. It just means the you can see these cautions need to be reset. Great detailing by the FlyJSim team to get that right. It is a real nuisance having to constantly press these over and over again. Anyway, those are out. AP bleeders off. I'm doing this the wrong way around, by the way. You should do it, then tick the checklist. I'm just doing this to stop me looking over and over. So, anti-collision goes to red. Flight recorder comes to life, as you'd expect. Engine's clear for start. Next is the after start. Engine start approved with any clearance, really. Okay. So, oh yeah, Robin's absolutely right. Robin's looking after me. Second fillet. So I never used to use the second one. Lots of airlines don't have it. So I struggle to remember that it even exists. So let's fill from FMS 1. It's dead easy, actually. It's much easier than I thought. But then again, it would be even easier if it did this all the time on its own. Crossfill failed. Bad data. Disaster. So you can just go to menu crossfill. Try again. Success. I wonder what the problem was. By the way, that's how you get to the bright and dim. Airbus is already there. This one, you've got to go to special menu. What's display? Up, down, cancel. Cancel that. I don't know what I'm doing there. Stop pressing things. Right. So, do we need to get clearance? Are we covered by any controllers here? There's a Miami Center. 135, 175. Are they going to want to speak to me? Let's put that back up. I have 1228. So for those of you watching, I've never flown in America, and it really 135, 175. So I'm very intimidated going on to FlyJSim and flying in America. It's so different to what I'm used to in Europe. It's quite famous for it, really. Lucifer says, I live in Nassau, Bahamas. Excellent. We can call Miami for clearance. Okay, we'll do. Thanks, Lauren. So that's 135, 175.
Getting up-to-date information on skips to departure from Miami. Can I get an alternate departure?
You got ready for the skips. You didn't get the departure.
Oh, I already don't know what they're talking about.
Thanks, sir.
Let's try and have all the information I'd normally have.
Number 839 Bravo Alpha.
They don't say QNH then. They say altimeter.
Runway 9.
Altimeter's 3007. We're a Dash 8. It's not a Dash 8 Q400 on the radio. It's a Dash 8 Delta. Being the 400, just like the 777 Whiskey.
Sierra Whiskey 5613 requesting IFR clearance to Port-au-Prince International Airport.
Yeah, we do stream during the F1. I must put up a message actually. But good to see you, Alex. Dash 8 Delta. We want clearance to
Sierra Whiskey 5613
Should I name the airport or just say the Bahamas?
Port-au-Prince via the Colada 1 departure.
That sounds like he's using the airport, so let's call it what it is.
Level 330, 10 minutes after departure frequency with me, squawk 4.
Linden Pending.
Can you please repeat my squawk code for me, please?
4636.
We're on gate 2. And where are we? Key West. I'm going to keep putting this off. I'm going to sit here for 20 minutes hoping that everyone keeps blocking me so I don't have to actually do it.
68 heavy, Miami Center, hello, runway 26 left, taxi via
It's actually Miami Center.
3000.
Oh dear. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, please don't. There's no Atis in Key West. I just want to know you have the local meter. Okay, great. We'll do that. You don't need start clearance, but you can get your clearance. Okay, perfect. Miami Center, Bahamas 295, Dash 8 Delta, stand 2 at Key West International. We got altimeter 3007, request clearance to Bahamas, Linden, Pending. Did that work? Doesn't feel
Bahamas
right.
295, Miami Center, hello, cleared to Nassau, rear vector's car news and it's filed, maintain 3000, level 230, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency with me, squawk 4610.
Thank you, Bahamas 295, clear to Nassau, climb maintain 3,000 feet, expect 230, 10 minutes, or 10 minutes after departure, squawk 4610.
Bahamas 295, read back is correct, already for taxi, runway 9.
Runway 9, Wilco, Bahamas 295. I never hear anyone in America say Wilco. I shouldn't have said that. Right, runway 9, so that changes everything. I think we got away with that. Yeah, well done us. Good news indeed. Right, let's get the squawk in. Andy says, when Centre is busy, I usually text ex-pilot for clearance, or you can sit there all day. Yeah, no, sitting there all day was my plan. Right, 46. Oh, there you go. They sounded much cooler than me. 4610, looking to pick up clearance. Love it. 4610, we're going to 3,000 feet. Ah, radar vectors Carnu. Perfect. Runway 09.
Clear destination as filed, Carnu, then 290, 10 minutes after departure. Squawk, again, please, squawk
9, slightly from the left. There we go. Menu. I don't think it's going to matter too much that we have the right runway in here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Just to sequence that FMS. And now I want to sequence it to Carnu. There is a way to do that. I suspect if I just delete the disk. There it is. Good. And that's brought that up. Those links are at the other end. Oh, it's going to be a busy flight. Right. Now he said we're clear for start, call ready for taxi, didn't he? And I said Wilco. So, let's start at those engines finally. You would actually have a ground crew person just for the first start, just because you want to check that it's clear behind you. It is indeed. It's going to start engine number 1. Over to 1. You move it over, select. NH spools up straight away. 15. Click forwards. There we go. Fuel flow. They start up so quickly, these engines. Hopefully you can hear it okay. Terrific. Next group flight. I'm not sure when my next group flight will be in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I must do that. Ooh, what was that ding? Seems okay. Engines come back and settled. Good. Start number 1. Number 2 even. There's 15. Wish I remember. There was an NH we used to call out exactly when it reached it. That's when we would move the fuel on. Just don't remember what it was. Wilco is will comply, Mark S. Exactly, yeah. You hear it a lot in the UK, but not so much. You can't use it for clearances, but you can use it.
Alaska 22 Golf 3 back right, cover for taxi runway 9.
Not sure what's causing that. Yeah, there you go. De-ice pressure is still low, and that's these little gauges here. But they are building up. So maybe they just need the DC generators, because the AC gens won't come online until we spool up the engines. And there we go. That's done. Dead easy. Love it. They've just got the sounds perfect. Right. Let us... Now, they actually have really good checklists here. You go out to start. External power APU. Off. Well, I could do a bit of a flow. We put that there. This here. I'll leave those off for now. That's all fine. Don't touch any of that. Don't touch that. We turned off the APU. Pressurization's in auto. Still on red. Sides armed. And I'm going to put the bleeds on and min. And I'm pretty sure any time from now we could just spool these up. So I'm going to spool them up. Up they come. Best part of the day, this. You get to it quite a lot of times when you fly Dash 8. You won't be doing long sectors. Such a good noise. There we go. AC gens have come online, which is good news. That's working fine. Let's run the de-icing test. Now, it's unlikely you would need it today, but we'll put props on to test, and then I put... you have to put this to manual, and then you scroll through each and check that they do inflate. 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 Meanwhile, the FO looks down at this gauge to make sure that they blip and they don't actually lose pressure. And the best thing about this, unbelievable, they actually inflate on the outside model. Look at that. Amazing. Funny that they're not symmetrical. Don't ask me why. You'd think you'd want them symmetrical. But they're not. They specifically aren't. Or am I talking nonsense? No, they are symmetrical. Oh, what was I talking about? But just that one isn't. Just the inboard. How strange. The rest are. There you go. Who knows why. Anyway, that's good. Props are tested. Right, let's run through the start. So external power APU is off. Main bus tie is off. Bleed air 1 and 2 on and min. Battery temperatures are checked. Very cool at 13 degrees. Condition levers are at max. Standby hide P2 control. That's obviously what I'm forgetting. So that you can hear. Let's listen. It is there. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it is there. Blueberry King, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us on Twitch. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Sunday night. We used to do these every time on Sunday. But we have been not able to do that every time lately. Love the shape of that prop.
869 contact tower 118.3.
Anyway, there is a bit of a noise there. So thermal high P2 control. That's the backup hydraulics work. Pressures, quantities. Right, hydraulic number 3. Open the isolation valve. Pressurize the backup for the elevator, and then move the elevator up, down. Close it again. That's all good. Pressure's dropped. So we've done the full travel, done the isolation valve. Flaps, we're going to go 4. We said 10. And now I'm going to click the speeds again, and make sure it doesn't work unless you put the lever in the right position, because obviously it doesn't know. So we've gone for 10 there. So there we go. That's all done now. Simply Tom says, speaking of Q400s, we welcome the Flyby 2.0 Dash 8 into Exeter on Friday. Hopefully they'll be up and running again soon. That is good to know, Simply. I'm glad to hear it's coming together. So there you go. The Flyby 2.0 Dash 8 is back in Exeter. Unbelievable. Who'd have thought it? Brilliant. Brilliant news. Thanks for those follows on Twitch. Appreciate it. Right. Anyway. De-ice pressure check. Well, we've already done that. Rudder travel. So I wish I could remember this. Anyway, we can do full left, full right, and then we would press the rudder shut off, full left, full right. So you see dashes at the start of the day going through all these different checks. Same with the spoilers as well, I'm pretty sure. What was that? Caution, nothing. Good. And full travel. Steering switch comes on. Windshield wiper. We'll put that wiper obviously off, but let's put the windshield heat to norm. I don't think we use warm up. I don't remember what warm up ever did. Flight taxi switch to taxi. That's talking about spoilers, not the light. Anyway, it was already to taxi, otherwise they'd have popped up, as you can see. And you get that nice amber warning, so that's what you'd look for on a landing. Typically, to check they came up, but of course you could always see them down here. Anyway, I'm going to put that on now. And radar, nav comms, PFD, MFD, ED, yaw damper. So we already had the oil damper on, but we can now go to nav. Good stuff. Right, any rad nav we need tuning? No, we're just heading out to a completely, it's not even, I don't think it's a VOR. Evening Jamlin, I hope you're doing well, thanks for joining us. De-icing was indeed in manual. Won't make much difference because we set it off, but yeah, good point, let's put that off. Very good spot. You guys are always on top of this stuff. Can't believe a small little plane is more complicated. The checklist for this is longer than the Airbus because there's just so many extra little systems. Right, anyway, 1228. Key West traffic, Bahamas 295, taxiing to runway 09 for departure. Okay, brakes released. And remember, we just need to move it forwards. It won't go otherwise. Check the nose wheel steering, has engaged, good stuff. Bit of a brake check.
Key West traffic.
Perfect.
51 Tango Bravo.
So if you forget to put the nose wheel steering switch on, the dash will it takes a few seconds. So that's the only thing I found so far that was slightly out from how I remember it on this model. The other thing is the propellers after landing we've seen, but I hear there's a fix maybe already done for that. So again, I should have got that sorted by now. But I think, as in, I should have updated already. But yeah, if you forget the nose wheel steering, what happens is you taxi forward. I'll turn it off, and then you try. So you pull the tiller, the plane doesn't do anything, and you go, oh no. You can't just turn it on because it actually takes a few seconds to power up. So you have to actually come to a stop and just sit there. So it's very embarrassing and very obvious to any. If you've got any pilots positioning in the cabin, they will know what you've done because they'll feel the plane move forward, come to a stop, and then sit there for a few seconds. Ask me how I know. If you fly this in the Azores, I made the sat livery. Oh, thanks, Jamlin. Yeah, we may well do that. Aviation James says, hey, 320 sim pilot, dreaming of becoming an airliner pilot when I'm older, doing PPO training at the moment. Excellent, enjoy that. PPO training is great fun. I look back so fondly on those first ones. Right, it's all clear. Feels so fast because, of course, we're just so low. Love it. There's not many airplanes where you get to feel like you're whizzing down the runway as fast as a Dash 8. Yeah, the rattling as well. What else can we do? Let's get rid of the control lock. Check the ailerons. All you're doing with that is checking full and free. You can't see the ailerons. This is just those roll spoilers outside. So you just sort of have to hope. I can feel the wind already hitting the tail. Just trying to pull the nose round. There's those big, quite big roll spoilers. The ailerons, by the way, don't get confused with the 146. Although they look like they got trim tabs, because they do, those aren't actually what we use to control it. We actually move the whole aileron. Yeah, it's interesting. Whereas the 146, you actually fly the aileron using the trim tabs. It's just always something confusing about it. There you go, Chick Point. Yeah, that's that's one of my stories. Yeah, we should go and do these oars. Right, definitely want to get those pitos on before I forget them. Definitely got outsail. Good, right. Taxi checklist is quite long. I mean, look at the length of them, and these aren't far off the actual checklist. So I might do this when we get up to the holding point, because I've had a habit on streams recently of going off the taxiways, which is just a bit too embarrassing, even for me. We'll go full length because it's not the longest of runways. You can see there. Oh, I do love this aeroplane. I really do. Sounds amazing. Yeah, so I finally got it set so that is the flight idle works pretty well now. So I've got a video coming where I talk through my actual settings. It's really confusing to talk about, so hopefully the video makes sense to anyone watching. Victor Romero, I did indeed, and you'll be really proud of me, because look, there's a Dash 8, which I assume is from your pack, so thank you, and I did install it. That's the Bluebell CSL update that I was kindly being guided towards and kept forgetting to install. Yeah, Ethan, I agree. The Dash 8 looks like it's suspended. So the other thing about the Dash 8 is the nose is quite low. It actually tends to sit on the ground slightly pointing down. Gives it quite an aggressive look, but it also means on the Airbus, when we take off, we set thrust and we actually put nose down. But you don't need to on the dash because it sort of glues itself to the runway. Until you rotate, it doesn't give you a sense of trying to lift off at all because it's got a ever so slight nose down sitting on the ground. This is actually slightly, I'd say this is slightly, that nose gear is slightly more extended than the average day out on the dash. Thanks, Victor. Yeah, no, we do. It's yeah, it's very good. Right, stop, parking brake. Oh, look at that, you can get a warning for the parking brake. That's just gonna, and then somebody has to press the button. Unbelievable. That warning system is, yeah, very basic. Taxi light, altimeters, flight instruments. Right, here we go. Now we can turn the tank pumps on. Maybe we'll do a bit of fuel transferring. Auto feather select, very important. Flaps are set and indicating. We've got 10 set and indicating. Trims 3, so that's set to takeoff. Takeoff, well, neutral and neutral is about right. Takeoff warning test, let's do that. Oh yeah, right. So there's two problems here. No, there's only one problem, the parking brake. You've got to have the parking brake off or it won't work. There we go. Last time we did that, we had the spoilers up because we were lining up and it didn't work. Brake set again. Condition levers are max 1020. Pitot statics are on. Ice protection not required, but pitos we're going to obviously have on anyway. Caution warning lights checked. The parking brake and flight clearances reviewed. We're going to 3,000 feet initially. Cabin is secure. Right, next one is a lineup. Camera crew notify. Bleeds are off. Let's get the lights on. Anti-collision to white. Can't have red and white. Transponder the TCAS. Hold it down to go on out. There it goes. Flight controls checked and free. Flight taxi, landing taxi. Next is the after takeoff. So we're going to take off, climb straight ahead, and then make a slight left turn. As we get to 1,000 feet, we can lower the nose, put in the autopilot, bring the flaps up, and set the condition levers to 900 and get the bleeds on. Right, let's go. Simply, Tom, I have not visited the Bahamas myself. Unfortunately, I've not had that luxury, and I would absolutely love to. So, Key West traffic, Bahamas 295, taking off runway 09, departing to the east. Clear on the approach. Lovely day here, just breezy. Brakes released. No, Jersey Pool, there's no controller now, they've disappeared. So again, Orbex Airport's always very good, and this one's no exception. Look at that, the taxiway markings and everything, just lovely. Looks like a narrow runway to me. Now, is this a hold it on the brakes airplane? Can't remember. Right, let's get my mouse out of the way. Right, we're ready to go. So, we don't have the same spool up, but we do have to do this. Get it to flight low. There we go. Almost set to sit at idle. Ah, we forgot the flight taxi switch. And there we go. Auto feather arm. That's a very important call out. If it doesn't arm, you reject the takeoff. Taking a lot of right rudder, but it does have a very powerful rudder, this airplane, as you would hope.
Traffic, November 851 Tango Bravo, lined up, runway 09.
I love that rattle. That rattle sound is spot on. V1, rotate. Nose up. Keep it at rudder in now. I'm going to release it. Positive climb. Gear up.
Terrain.
Yeah, it does have a bit of a database issue with the terrain warnings. It keeps giving them. Nose not quite as high as the Airbus, actually, with a bit of the extra flap out. That's interesting. But there we go. Climbing nicely. Oh, drifted off a bit. Bit too keen on my heading into wind.
US traffic, November 851 Tango Bravo, departing runway 09.
Now there is 1,000 feet, so we can lower the nose. We can engage the autopilot. 1,000 feet, I think, is the minimum use height on takeoff. Now I'm going to... I think that second bug is the flap retraction. So I think we're going to go to 5. I'm going to set IS 210. I'm going to start digging through some old manuals, see if I can work out how that flow went. And I know we can now bring the condition levers to 900 and put the bleeds on a min so we can pressurize. On a norm, sorry, so we can pressurize. Right, now the flaps can come to 0.
Okay, what's the traffic?
And let's go DTO, Kanu, enter. And there's two things to do. It won't automatically do it for you. There's that star. We need to press nav. That's another gotcha of this airplane. It won't turn unless you do it. So the way to remember that is direct to two things to do. Right. Thank you for those follows on Twitch. I hope you're enjoying it. It looks a lot narrower than when that landing 732 on it, says Andy. Yeah, I bet it does. Yeah, I was thinking the Dash would be about the biggest I want to take in there. Dash did switch their engines off, indeed.
QS traffic, good afternoon. This is number 8 for Rebel Alpha. Taxi to runway 09er. Be Alpha, Alpha 1. We hold short for traffic. And then we report
and
back
that
to departure.
is that. Right. After takeoff, landing gear is up. Flaps are at 0. He says, yeah, they're over there. I'm just search for them. Climb power's set. And remember, you set these to 900. Ah, no, it's not set. So that hasn't quite settled. There you go, 900. And now you get MCL. So that's what you're checking for. It's say MCL max climb, 96%. There we go. Standby hide P2 control, back to norm. Don't need those anymore. And lo and behold, the pump. So these things are pretty much always connected. When you turn on these two, you're going to turn on the fuel pumps as well. Off. Auto feather, we don't need anymore. Off. There you go. Engine T's and P's, check. All in the green. Quite a nice EFIS display on the engines. Quite straightforward. You've got the little green bands to look at. And I have had them go in the red on this airplane. Eyes protection, not required. Please are on the norm. Passenger signs on for now. That's it. Next is the cruise. So he said 10 minutes after departure, expect 23,000 feet. So let's put it in.
US traffic, this is number 8 for Narrow Alpha, landing up on runway 09.
I have not tried FS Realistic.
US traffic.
Oh. 23,000. IS 210. Back to the rating. And it should go up. Away it goes. There's a line heading bug, so that's ready. Good, right, and let's get that range up. And thank you very much, B550, for your $4.01 tip. Really appreciate it. B5 says you should consider a visit to CYCG. Where's CYCG? Soon. Yeah, I've got some Air Canada liveries. Is that in Canada? I have some outsell. Thank you very much. Yes. Unbelievable. You should say outsell every time you set something, and that's going to be standard, isn't it? So let's set standard 2992. There we go. Right, 20,000 blue outsell. Perfect. Now nav. Yeah, you should consider a visit to CYCG soon and read the label on that plushie in the overhead bin. Okay, thank you, B5 Kitty, for the very kind $4.01 tip. Really appreciate it. And remind me in the cruise, and we'll head back. It's Calgary. Yes. There you go. I was roughly right. But thanks so much, B5 Kitty. Really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel. Castlegar. Right, okay. But yeah, Canada. Must be Canada. I'm going to fly this full route just because it's such a short flight anyway. It gives us a chance to get up to 23,000. Oh, beautiful. Wish I was there. Felipe says, a small question if possible. SimBrief always gives me cruising altitudes below 3,000 to 4,000 feet, facing the optimum altitude in the progress of the MCDU dev version. Who to believe in the right way? So if the flight plan level you get from SimBrief will be based on a load of assumptions, and the optimum one in the MCDU is based on its own calculations. The actual optimum is going to be, so the best flight level to be at for efficiency and everything else is the one in the MCDU in the Airbus. But in real life, we don't get that. We get what we get filed on, and it could be that air traffic have restrictions and so on. So it's not unusual not to sit at your optimum, but the best one will be your actual optimum that the airplane calculates. Now, in the dev version of the A320neo, is that accurate? I don't know, I'm afraid. There's too many calculations. It looks at wind, temperatures, performance. It's very clever. But yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about it, but if normally what we use day to day in the real aircraft is we will use the optimum of the aircraft. So if we can get to it, if air traffic says what level do you want, we'll go to the optimum. Thanks for joining, Matthew. Glad you like the videos. Thanks for coming along to say so. Hello, Navy Land sub from Twitch. Thanks for watching us on there. I fly the Airbus in real life, Chedley. Yeah, thanks, Matthew Presley. Someone did say actually at the time it's for the balloon, which really confused me. I couldn't believe it's 15,000. I thought maybe there's a charts difference. Right, 10,000 feet. Passengers can wander. By the way, you'll notice these lights go in the complete opposite direction to the Airbus, so that was fun. Oh, and this taxi light switch you should turn that off. I think we turn that off for takeoff actually, because it should obviously be off when the gear's up. Oh, that was looking good though. And when the pitch reaches 5 degrees, I'm going to convert to pitch. You're welcome, Felipe. XVLP, I flew it for a few years. I won't be more specific than that, just for a bit of privacy, but yeah, did fly it for a few years. Canned Corn, thanks for following, and Jesus. I hope you're doing well, Matthew Presley. Matthew Presley is our resident American pilot, so and CRJ pilot. So Matthew will also, along with Lauren, be able to spot all my mistakes and faux pas for flying in America, and I just don't have a clue. We managed to get a clearance, Matthew. You'll be pleased to know we got a whole clearance out of air traffic without any mistakes or repeats. They didn't tell us off, so I was pretty pleased with that. And luckily they then went offline, so we haven't had to do anything else. Right, there you go, 5 degrees. So now I'm going to press IS again and go to pitch, and we'll stay at pitch of 5 degrees, 210 knots. But we're not going to maintain 210 now. That's going to start washing off. Alpha Bravo. So tips for VATSIM. So Richard V knows that I'm working on a tutorial for VATSIM, and I say working. What happens is I have a rough plan, but it's a big topic, and I'm struggling to digest it in my own head. So until I've got a full-on way to describe it to you guys, I don't want to put a video out that's just a confused mess of me just talking continuously, because that's what it would be. It'd be like a bit like a stream. And I'm trying to find a way to actually be helpful with it and not just as confusing, because that obviously won't be very helpful. Some quick tips I can give you right now would be have a pen and paper so you can write everything down, because in real life I'd write it down on the scratch pad. On the dash you couldn't actually do that because it doesn't have a scratch pad. It can, if you don't select something, you're not really doing anything. So have it on your desk, a piece of paper and a pen, and that I write down every heading, every altitude, because what happens is I invariably forget it, because they tend to give you 3 things at once. In the real aircraft, the other pilot would be doing them, half of them for you, so you'll be reading it back and the other person will be setting it, so you've only got to remember it for about a second, and then you're looking to check that the other pilot's done it. So that's the difference really. So yeah, write it down and be in an airplane you're comfortable with already, so that the airplane isn't the stressor. WAS and Egnos Chedley are things that I don't use. They're an American thing, or they're not American, but they're not used in Europe very often, so I'm afraid I'm not going to be very helpful with those, sorry. Matthew says when they first started the climb and descend via thing over there, it confused everyone for a while, so the confusion with the weirdness over here is something we all know. Yeah. Yeah, climb and descend via the SIDS and stars, that's a call that takes a bit of care. Craft for IFR clearance, there you go, Juso's craft. So there's some acronyms people will use, yeah. Because I'm pretty used to it now, so I know what I want from a clearance. I know what I'm trying to hear. So I knew that controller wanted a few things. I knew they wanted what plane I'm in, where I am, what altimeter setting I've got, or Q and H. They don't care what I've got. They want to know that I've got the right one. As in, they're not asking for the fun of it. You know. But you just get used to these things. So I'm trying to make sure I can get the right points across, emphasize the right points. Navy Land and Sub Oh my goodness, $50 tip. Really, that's far too generous. Navy Land Sub, thank you so much. I never know what to say with that sort of thing. That's yeah, well, that's unbelievable. So that's really appreciated. Navy Land Sub says, love the videos and all the help learning this new beast. Thanks for the fantastic, not for actual use training. You're very, very welcome, and thank you so much for that tip. That's really very kind, Navy Land Sub. I hope you're doing very well, and I'm glad I've been helping with the dash, because I've been desperately trying to remember it myself. So it's been a real treat. For once, my X-Plane texture, I've changed the default water texture to be this sort of turquoise blue, and it finally we're in the right place for it. But yeah, thank you so much, Navy Land Sub. That's very, very generous. Really, really appreciate it, and I'm glad you've been enjoying the videos. It's great to hear that they are useful for people. We have friends out here, so I want to go to the TCAS menu. How on earth? There is a way to using this box to change this in order to see change the TCAS to be set above and below, and I do not remember how to do it. There is an FMS setting, by the way. You can use the FMS if you're being really clever. Ah, I wish I remembered it. It's not on page 2. Someone might know. Yeah, thank you again, Navy Land Hub. Really, really very kind. Right, let's do 20,000 feet. All looking good. Last couple of thousand feet to go. Alex, enjoy F1. See you next time. Don't come back with any spoilers. Matthew Presley says, WAS is the Wide Area Augmentation System. It is an error correction for GPS signals using a fixed ground station to find the exact error of each GPS signal. The info is sent to reducing. There you go. So it's a way to improve the GPS reliability and accuracy, I suppose. Very clever. Very clever stuff. He says, you know it's a big donation when he pauses and status. Yeah, no, that's very, very generous. And the H1302 says, I use FlyJSim in the US, New Zealand and Australia and a lot, so I'm used to the whole descent via the star. There you go. Yeah, it is quite good. And they do use it sometimes in Europe, but it's more for quieter sort of places. Navy Lander Sub says, are we going to have a special stream on Tuesday? I've heard rumours of something going around. Sadly, not. I'm not a part and have not heard of any of those rumours, I'm afraid. Yeah. Sorry. Now, I'm curious. What's going on Tuesday? Not that I'm aware of anyway, unless I've forgotten to do something. Which is very possible. Right, last 1,000 feet. We're doing 1,000 feet per minute. That's all good. See the speed's back at 186. 1,000 feet to go. Don't fiddle with it within 1,000 feet to go or it drops out. Being really good at maths is not a requirement in Aviation 24, just basic stuff. As you can see, we don't use a lot of maths. Yeah, it's very basic. 3 degrees, 3 times table. That's all we ever end up using, really. Oh, look, we could have converted our inches and standard on the standby. Good old standby instruments. They're always good. So what is world flights, Juso? I'm so sorry. I've totally missed it. Outstar. There we go. Rithvik, I might change to a bigger plane at some point in my career. Indeed. Yeah, I'd like to fly long haul at some point. George is going to leave us for the F1. But George says, before I leave you all, do fireworks on weekends such as this one have much impact on you as pilots? No. They might get NOTAMs if it's really close to the airport, like an official big display near the airport. But you would be amazed how low down they actually are. Even if you're at sort of 4,000 feet, they are basically on the floor. It's really remarkable. The only time you come close to fireworks is if they're being put off right next to the airport, so the last 500 feet and below, but they don't really go above that. It's really surprising, actually. When you're on the ground, fireworks look like they go up thousands and thousands of feet, but they just don't. Right, 850 max cruise, good stuff. Wish I remember what to do with that TCAS, because you can set it to below. That's something I'm going to have to look into. Don't forget to put pressure to standard. We have, sadly, that's all it does in the dash. You click it and it goes, it doesn't actually say standard, it just converts to that. Yep, that's all it does. See you, George. Enjoy the F1. Yeah, I know nothing about, I've got nothing planned on Tuesday. I'm not... as a pilot, you don't get to plan which airplane you fly usually. It's just where the work takes you. But I would have no objections flying a Boeing, obviously. Matthew says, was flying on the 4th of July. Guy living directly under the approach path about a mile from the runway was setting off. There you go. Ricardo says, normal people, wow, look at this fireworks. They're so high. Pilots, they're basically on the ground. Yeah, well, they really are not very high. Like I say, just at the last point on the approach. As Matthew says there, if you're about directly on the approach path a mile from the runway, that, if you think about it, that's going to be about 300 feet. So yeah, you'd be pretty close. The reason, for those of you not in the UK, it was bonfire night. So remember the 5th of November. So it's a celebration of the anniversary of an attempted plot on the House of Parliament from many years ago. So what everyone does on the 5th of November is launches fireworks and has big bonfires after Guy Fawkes. So that's what we're all talking about here. It was, of course, on Friday, but most of the celebrations are over the weekend. Right, let's go and check out that plushie. Just bring the power. Actually, yeah, let me set the power properly so we don't overspeed in the meantime. Good. And what does the label say? With love and thanks to our fans who have kept us going for 10 years, the FlyJSim team. That's excellent. That's really nice. That's a serious level of detail. Even the label. Very good. Yeah, well, I've got their 737-200 and I absolutely love flying that. So when I knew they were making this, I had no major concerns in my mind. But yeah, very good. So I'm a late arrival to the FlyJSim fan base. Power approach, says Chedley. It's a bit easy, but can you give us help for those who haven't done it yet? I've never done it, so I'll have to have a look at it and see what we can. Oh yeah, another nice feature of the Dash is you get to look at the stairs. So if this was covered in old de-icing fluid and slush and things from a cold winter's day, the front camera crest is sitting right next to it. By the way, we did see last time how the lights can be controlled from here, which is an unreal level of detail. We should do a night flight at some point and have a bit of fun with all that. Very good. Yeah, just crazy. Right, how are we doing? Oh, that's it. 140 miles away from Rajay, which is... better put up some charts. Andy says their 727 is... their 727 is also pretty awesome. Yeah, it looks amazing. If I wasn't running out of time for all the airplanes I'm trying to learn, I would have already done the 7.2 because it does look great. So what have we got? We've got loads of runways here. Let's put up an airport chart. I'm totally unfamiliar with this airport. Let's just check we can land. So there's a 2,500 meter runway with 1028. That's fine. 32, which is the expected runway because of the northerly wind. It's absolutely fine. 3,300 meters. With that, yeah. So long runway, I'd normally go flat 15. It's a massive runway, but if it's windy, we're going to go flat 35. We're going to go 35 anyway, so I've set it to 35 over there, and you guys can all laugh at my attempt at landing it. Lights flicker on too. They're not just poof ons as Navy Land sub. Yeah, we did see that last time. Just amazing. Latka says, oh yeah, thanks for joining us, Latka, on Twitch. But yeah, it's nice, isn't it? They've done a good job there. So, let us... Oh, don't tell me I've got the wrong airport for arrival. MYNN. Thanks, Alpha Bravo. Yeah. Good. So that's fine. The runway is absolutely fine. Get rid of that. So, back. Approach. We're coming in by Rajay. So runway 32. I think we're going to try the RNAV. Let's prove that the Dash can do it. And it'll be good fun for me. We have a VNAV button. We're going to press it. And we're going to make it fly it. The alternative would be a VOR. But the VOR in the Dash meant tracking needles and using vertical speed. Totally possible. And you could have the VNAV still displayed. But when I started on the Dash, we'd fly an NDB based entirely heading vertical speed. And I went onto the Airbus and it's all track FPA. It's so much better. So easy. So just get rid of that. That's the RNAV chart. The only thing I want is the arrival. No, there's no arrivals. Right, okay. Do we have a controller here? Oh, there is a sensor, 1257. I'm going to have that ready. And they've got an approach. So I'm a bit unsure as to how this is going to go, and it's going to get really busy. But let's check that we have the right legs in here. So it only has Kelly. So I'm expecting us to go via Hidno. So let's go and put that in. So menu, arrive, and I can just go to the approach. RNAV 32. What does the whiskey mean? I wish I remembered. Something very important, I'm sure. And then Hidno. There we go. So that's coming in from our side. Enter. And ridiculously crossfill. Okay. So the big gap. Get rid of that no link. I don't know why it's 2. Seems a bit pointless. There we go. And then Hidno. Now there's no sort of. Is there a plan? Is there a way to scroll forwards? No. These are just clever ways to put the screens all around. You can obviously mix up the screens lots of different ways. So we can have the engine display up here, electric systems page, PFD. Just basically so that if any one of these breaks, because as you can see we've only got 5 screens, we need to be able to move them around as required. So yeah, there you go. Good. So weather. Let's put approach speeds in 116, and let's check out that weather. So it's not too windy anymore. 30015, 15 knots is you could do a flat 15 in that. But anyway, is there an Atis? There's an Atis, which is information Foxtrot. (310) at 13. Runway 32. Expect visual 32. Visual approach. Runway 28 NOTAMs. Land and hold short operations are in effect. Landing runway 09. Expect to hold short runway 14. Yeah, but it does say 25 degrees. Ah, it's warm. Oh, I wish we were there. Altimeter 299 at 8. That's fine. Arrivals expect visual approach runway 32. Okay, so we'll go for that. I don't think we need to do land and hold short, but we'll be vacating before the intersection anyway, worst case. All departures, contact clearance delivery. That's not us. VFR traffic. Right, okay. So we're not even going to do the RNAV. I've heard that America likes visuals. Maybe the Bahamas are the same. So let's see. Is there any concerning information that we need to know about flying a visual? Airport info. No. Runway construction. No. General, right. Looking for any notes about doing a visual. Nope. So there is. Let's put something useful in. Let's put the VOR in. So where is the VOR? The VOR is just on approach. ZQ81127. So let's tune that. Let's have something useful up. 1127. This also has the DME hold feature, which is very cool. And look at that, changes the VOR2 on its own. Good stuff. 1127. Blanc. Good. And if we look at our arrival that we've got, Dilpe is 5 miles out. So if we're 1,600 feet at Dilpe, which we're going to have on our screen, 1,600 feet there, 3 degrees from there means everything's good. So we could just go, well, we can't actually go direct there, but we could head around in heading and then get down to Dilpe and then do a 3-degree descent from there. That is an option, or a visual arrival like that. Eventually we're going to go flap 35, which is going to bring us back really slow. So the vertical speed for us on final, 116 knots for 3 degrees, worth having in mind. It's going to be about 600 feet per minute, isn't it? Even slightly less. So 500 to 600 feet per minute on final approach we want for our flap 35 landing. And then we're just going to get ourselves off the runway because we're just getting in the way. So let's have the airport up. Right, so yeah, so flap 35, we'll just vacate, possibly Bravo, if not Delta. And have some parking stands. We'll go wherever they tell us. So that's the plan. I'm assuming the MSA here is a little bit lower. 1,500, there we go. Full 13,500 feet lower. So that's all good. So we've got no real MSA issues. We're just going to go below it once we are already established on final. Like I say, we're going to aim for 5 miles, 1,600. So if we were to go a little bit further out, we could say add another 300 and go another mile out. So basically, as ever, 6 miles, 2,000 feet would be a pretty sensible place to be. And at that point, I want to be going gear down flat 15 by 5 miles. So that'll be the plan. Excuses for landing. Flat 35 is a complete nightmare. It's going to be really hard to get the nose up enough to actually land on the main gear. We're going to have to leave the power on, but reduce it slightly. So that's the trick to a flap 35. Again, this is a whole video on its own, no doubt. Flightzilla, thanks for raiding us with a party of 18. That's very kind. Thank you. Yeah, so we talked earlier about the landings in the Dash 8 and why they're so rattly. The Dash 8 is very light. It's actually quite light even for its size. So you've got quite a light aeroplane, and then the landing gear, you'll notice the struts go vertically perfect. They're straight down. The problem with that is if you land flat 15, you actually the struts are pointing ever so slightly forward because your nose is up at about 5 degrees by the time you cross the threshold, or close to it, certainly in a flare. So that means the gear is now pointing into the runway, as it were, pointing forward, so they don't compress very well. So what happens on a flat 15 landing is, instead of the shock absorbers on the landing gears compressing like they do on the Airbus, giving you that soft sort of cushion as you sit down on the runway, what you find is you hit the ground, they rattle, they send a shockwave right into the wing spar, and it rattles all through all the passengers and everything. And then it sits there with them fully extended. Then the ground spoilers come up, and then it sinks onto them once it's more flat on the ground and then the noses come down. So flat 35 landings were actually a little bit easier to get to avoid that, because you tend to land a bit flatter. You'll see this time we'll actually have a nose low attitude on final. So it's from one extreme to the other. The nose is too high on final, flat 15, it's too low on flat 35. So we're going to come in now flat 35 with the nose right down, and then when we flare we'll be quite flat, so the shock absorbers will be more vertical. But the big risk is wheelbarrowing, getting the nose gear to touch down first. So you've got to ease the nose up whilst trickling the power off, and if you do one of those things a bit too much or a bit wrong, you'll find that the aeroplane will either wheelbarrow or go back up again. So yeah, it's a real balancing act. So here we go. Right, here's the controller. 1257.
Walk 4405. American 17014405.
What information do they need? Nassau Centre, Bahamas 295, flight level 230 to Rajay.
Bahamas 295, good afternoon, squawk 4411.
Squawk 4411, Bahamas 295.
Bahama 201 is on, proceeding on course to Exuma. Bahamas 201, roger. American 1701.
There we go. The Logitech radio panel does work on the transponder. That's good news.
11,250 knots.
Nassau Centre. Thanks, Kai.
Altimeter 29908. American 1701, cross Ray J at 250 knots, 11,29908.
No auto land, also excuse. There you go. Yeah. We're going to land 850.
Bahamas 295, radar contact, flight level 230.
Thank you, Bahamas 295. Something to note, in a really windy day, what you do is you put these condition levers to max without doing reduced MP. Today, 15 knots. I think I'll do a flat 35, just because I don't want any varying wind to mean that I run out of pitch. Because if you're trying to do a flat 15 and your nose gets to 5 degrees, you're sort of stuck. Whereas 35, that's not going to happen realistically. So what I'm going to do is, but I think I'm okay to use reduced MP. I don't need that extra control. That is the really windy days. You do a flat 35, condition levers to max. That's when you're really, really worried about it. I'm going to have to get another hard drive for my computer so I can fit the fit some more Orbex on it. I've got 3 terabytes in my computer and it's all full. What else was I talking about? Auto feather. So what is the auto feather all about? Right, so if your engine fails in a propeller airplane and the wind is hitting the propellers, what happens is they actually keep spinning. So it's like a wind turbine. So think about wind turbines that generate electricity out in the sea and so on. And that causes a huge amount of drag because effectively they're flat into the wind and the air hits them and it's like a big speed brake. And then it's even worse because they then turn. So you're using energy the airplane's got by flying through the air and you're converting it into turning an engine around, which you're not even going to use. So what we do is we feather it. So feathering is when you turn it to point right into wind. So they go, instead of looking like a windmill, they'll look like a, you know, how to describe, like a propeller on a ship or something, much more coarse we call it, much stronger angle. And then they'll stop spinning or spin very slowly because then the air isn't really catching them. So that's what feathering does. Now if the engine fails now, we could just feather it. We've got loads of room and it's totally safe and we could just feather the engine ourselves. So you can put it into start feather, you can run the feather or the alternate feather system here or whatever you need to do. But on takeoff, we may not have that luxury. So if you have an engine failure at rotate, we don't have time to be fiddling around trying to feather the propeller because that propeller will drag you back onto the runway. It just has too much of a performance hit. So what we have instead is auto feather, and if that senses a loss of torque on that engine, and there are criteria, I don't remember what they are. There are specific criteria, and what it will do is it will immediately feather that propeller for you. It drives it, and there's actually a backup. You can see the alternate feather system. So there's the commanding feather, and there's an alternate pump because if you've lost pressure on the engine or something's broken, you can't afford. Say the engine gets damaged, you can't afford for it to not feather. It must feather. It's so crucial. So you drive it into the feathered position. It's got 2 systems to do that because it's just so crucial to flying it. Now up here would be fine if it didn't feather, but by the time we get down trying to fly an approach with the wheels down,
cross the Reggie at 11,250 knots, altimeter 29908.
cross Reggie at 11,250 knots, altimeter 29908, Bahamas 295. Oof, it's getting difficult already. Right. We've been cleared to 11. In. 11. And outsell. There we go, starting to get the hang of that. Let's start down. He wants us there at 11,000. To 1,000 initially. And 250 knots, so we can accelerate to 250 in the descent. 11,000, it's okay to be 250. But if we get any lower, we won't be okay. We've done the altimeters, power, cabin pressure, and lights. Next will be the descent. So we can already go on to Q&H, 29908. Oh no, wrong way. It's quite a pressure change, hence the strong wind, I suppose. Yeah, to go such a short flight and have the pressure change so much. Thanks, Birdman. I'm glad that made sense. Rithik says, the 350 when it lands, very nice. Since when it touched down, the suspension pushes the aircraft up. Spoilers push it all the way down. The suspension. Yeah. Yeah, that's well designed.
0506 and 1 Tango Bravo.
Good. Anything else we need to do? Sure there is. So we've agreed flat 35, that will go on later. Oh yeah, fuel transfer. Let's go to the fuel page. System.
American 1701
fuel. There's the fuel. So we got a slightly less in the left tank. If I just do that, isn't that amazing? Tank 2 comes on. Arrow up here to show you which way the fuel's going.
Cross rate 11,250 knots, altimeter 299.8.
And in no time, it's balanced. It's just great. Although apparently on modern aircraft like the Dreamliner, it's automatic, which is even more impressive. There we go. That's balanced. Turn it off. Pumps go off. Valves are closed. Oh no, not that. Nav. What are the yellow handles for? Now, good question. These... sorry, how far are we from Roger? We're 30 miles. We're going to lose 10,000 feet to get there. So we need to do 3 degrees. Our ground speed at the moment is down here at 392. So actually, we need to be doing a bit more. We need to be doing 2,000 feet per minute. Right, sorry about that. I think if you put into VNav, we could have put it in.
Bahamas 201.
No, well, anyway, down we go.
Good afternoon.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah, these handles. Right, these are the disconnects. So if this is a conventional aeroplane, right? So you've got these big yokes in front of you, and the rattling that you heard on takeoff, and they've done a great model of it, is this stick shaker sits in there and rattles a bit because it's obviously just an offset weight. So that is rattling away, and also this another thing that used to rattle, or just you could just hear, is this cable just tapping the yoke stick, because it's the that's the handheld microphone. So yeah, I love that rattle is modelled because that's very distinctive. Anyway, this yoke, so these are obviously connected. The flight controls are traditional. You've got cables. It's not like the Airbus, and as a result, one could get jammed. What if I got some coins or something jammed into my yoke or the flight stick down here, and I therefore couldn't move it? It'd be daft if therefore the whole airplane couldn't fly, and it could be something somewhere else in the system. So you have these handles which you can pull, and you'll see they're labelled. One is pitch, one is roll, and they disconnect those axes. So you can then, hopefully, one of the sides is working, and therefore you could use that side. Right, we're 18 miles, so we need to be no more than 6,000 feet above what we're doing. And we're a tiny bit high. He did tell us, so let's go for 2-2. Take the power back. You don't have to transfer the fuel. That's only if there's an imbalance. So the Airbus doesn't automatically transfer fuel either. You're welcome, Peter. Thanks for saying so. Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, by the way, do please leave a like. It makes a massive difference for the channel. Can't avoid saying that, I'm afraid. Now, I don't know where he wants us to go after, Rajay. I'm hoping he'll tell us something. Getting a bit fast now. Remember, all manual thrust, constantly monitoring that, and very hard to tell because you can hear all the noise, but the noise doesn't tell you much. There's actually more of like an electronic whine in the headset that would be quite useful for being able to tell whether this is working. Whether
295, contact approach 121.0, good afternoon.
1210, Bahamas 295, good afternoon. Also, what's fun about flying as America is we get to use real time. So real weather, real time. Oh, let's get this right. Let's get the latest Atis so we don't embarrass ourselves in the first call. I'm sure.
That's the 043, contact tower 19.5, good day.
Still Foxtrot. Good. We are the Bahamas 295, Dash 8 Delta. I'm just writing it out again so I don't get it wrong. Got altimeter 2998 with the information Foxtrot. Bahamas, good afternoon. Bahamas 295, descending flight level. Descending 1000 to Rajay, Dash 8 Delta with altimeter 2998 and information Foxtrot.
I'm 295 now, so bridge length to information Foxtrot. Expect the RNR runway 32.
RNAV 32, Bahamas 295. Excellent, that's even better. Yeah, X-Plane 11 does have live weather and time indeed. So how we're only 4 miles away.
295 after Ridge 8, proceed direct, hit no, and descend maintain 5,000.
So maintain 5,000 feet and after Rajay, direct to Edno, Bahamas 295. So there's 1,000 feet to go. It is outsail, so that's good. 250 knots. He said 250 knots, 11,000. We've done it. Pretty happy with that. Ah, Hidno, not Edno. Outstar. Oh, look at that. It's nice when the maths works. That's the basic maths, you see. That was just 3 degrees, 3 times. That's all I did to get that. We'll keep 250 knots as that's what's been requested. It's probably to help us sequence with other traffic. I should have anticipated that a bit better. There we go. And we're going to go to number 5.5, enter. It is an LNAV, so it should do the turn for us. There it goes. And heading back round. So that's good. So we're going to go and fly the RNAV as we expected. So new plan of action is to go Hidno, number 1, approach speed 210. That's fine. The speeds aren't an issue in the dash. It's very controllable on speed. But we're going to go 2,000 feet across to Cuddly, and then we're going to turn left 323 inbound to Dilpe. Hopefully that's all in here properly. Yep, Dilpe, runway 23, 323 inbound, so the course is correct. And it's got altitude, so at Cuddly it wants to be 3.5, so it's going to be a bit high. That's fine, because it's presumably worked out an angle. Dilpe at 1612, Dilpe at 1600, yes. So I feel like there should be a way to see 3 degrees. But anyway, runway 32 at 64 feet across the threshold, which is going to be 50 feet, because we've got touchdown. We want to be 50 feet over the threshold. Runway's 14 feet elevation. So, lo and behold, 50 plus 14, 64. So I'm pretty confident in all that. If I go to VNAV, it doesn't really say much, just to go to Cuddly. Is there anything I need to do to activate this? I feel like there is, but we shall find out. My hope was just to press VNAV as we get a bit closer and we'll see it come up. I'm going to leave the nav source. So the difference here is we leave the nav source in FMS, because of course we're not using the VORs.
American 1709, descend and maintain.
I am going to set that to 3.2 something though, just so it's in the right direction roughly to point at the VOR. But yeah, I'll leave it in number 1.
American 1701, correction, descend and maintain.
I'm going to set this course bar to FMS 1, and then we'll have VOR 2. So now we can see both, and let's put it back into LNAV. There we go. And hopefully I can just press VNAV. Oh, and he did say descend to 5,000. We've got plenty of miles to go, 41 miles. This is quite a long approach actually. Vertical speed, let's go down. Let's go down at 1,000 for now. Power coming back. Passenger signs can come on now. There's the destination. I don't even think we need to 1,000, let's do a bit less. 700. Enter the STU's VNAV. Yep, so we have done that before. But that's just going to work for now. I'm more concerned with the later on point. So anyway, well, let's see what it gives us actually. If we want to do 2,000, top descent in 20 miles. And you can see it will keep reducing now because we're not actually following it. 800 feet per minute to make Cuddly at 3,400. So there we go. Let's just do 800 feet per minute. See how that works out for us. Obviously, as we change speed, that will stop being so relevant. Do I have to keep updating this? That seems like a real pain if you have to constantly do that. Outsell. Thank you. Yeah, there it is. Oh, this is great. I'm really glad I've got that that ingrained in you guys, because it's not working for me. Yeah, so new approach briefing is Cuddly, 2,000 feet. We're actually going to be a bit higher, but that's fine because we'll use the VNAV guide, and then we'll head down 600 feet at Dilpe. Same criteria. So as we pass Dilpe, I'm going to go gear down, flap 15, and then shortly after we'll go to flap 35. I don't want to spend too long at flap 35 because the speeds are so hopelessly low. Something to note is the maximum speeds, the limiting speeds for the flaps, are just written here. So it's actually 158 flap 35. On a really windy day, I can promise you can get scarily close if you have the icing stuff on. Icing in this airplane is a whole big topic. There's a reason when you do your instrument rating and when you do your skills tests. Oh, we're going to have to reduce speed actually because this red bar is about to chop down on us as we go through flight level 80, so I'll just tell the controller. And for Bahamas 295, may we reduce speed to 30 knots?
You want to slow to 230 for Bahamas 295?
Yeah, we can't do 250 below 9,000 feet.
Oh, that's fine with me.
Thank you. We're cruising 230 Bahamas 295. So here it comes, and this will catch you out one day. So power back. Thanks, George, for the subscription. Navyland Sub says, okay, big question. When you were descending and noticed that the altimeter setting is significantly higher than standard, when would you set the altimeter? You set it as soon as you cleared to altitude. But I would do that once I'm actually descending.
American 1701, 10 miles from... Sorry, yeah. American 1701, 10 miles from...
Yeah, so once you're cleared to an altitude, that's when you set it in the descent.
American 1701, cross.
Okay, that looks
Now
good.
about 3,000 cleared for the RNAV, reaching.
They're doing the RNAV. Great news.
So wings 242, descend and maintain.
So we will appear on this chart at some point, I imagine. Let's leave it up there.
Silver wings 242.
This is a good place to fly for your frames.
Runway 51 Tango Bravo Nassau, approach, good afternoon. Expect vectors for the visual approach to runway 32 Nassau, altimeter 2998.
230 knots. Get the lights on. Yeah, so we need to do, when you do your test in the sim is for your license check, it's always going to be in icing conditions. Now on the Airbus that makes very little difference, but the reason it's like that is there's some aircraft like the Dash 8 where the icing makes a huge difference. You'd actually turn on this increased ref switch if you thought there was ice on the airframe, which significantly increased the approach speeds, and you'd also need to change the stall speeds. So it's a big difference. And if you're making a windy approach in icing conditions with that switch on, it can be very hard to keep your speeds below the limiting speed of 158. And when the speed's jumping up and down, it's not incredibly obvious when you may have hit it. It won't tell you, but the airplane does actually know, but you need to speak to engineering to check. Yeah.
So wings 242, turn right, head in 240.
Oh, there you go. ATC don't care about your speed. They'll tell you if you know. The reason I asked was I thought we were told, I think it was the previous controller said 250 actually, so I should have told this controller we'd been given 250 and then they'd have told us what they wanted. That was my mistake for not telling them. Yeah. 2.6 tons of fuel, still plenty of fuel on board. I don't think there's a fuel burn number on here. Maybe if we go to systems, fuel, total fuel. No, it's not on there, and I remember where it is now. It's in here, isn't it? Fuel. Next. Yeah, and it'll be on the landing page. Used. There you go, 640 kilos. And somewhere in here, there's the current weight. So we got an excess of 1.5 tons. That's what I like to see. There you go. Gross weight at the moment, 26.7. Top of the centre there. Right, let's run the approach check. So I know these two come on. Fuel pumps come on. And then I forgot loads of things. So altimeters, approach, cabin altitude and ice. Approach checklist, altimeters, lights. GPWS landing flap is 35. Fuel transfer is off, tanks, pumps are on, standby high P2 control on, high press quantity check, passenger signs on, caution warning lights check, cabin is secure. That is the approach check is complete. Thank you, Atis Maggie, for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Sorry, can you say again for Bahamas 295?
Bahamas 295, center maintain 3000.
Center maintain 3000, Bahamas 295. Alright, 3000 in it goes. Let's just check our VNAV page. Now it says about 700 feet. That's all good. And you'll notice that the little VDEVs display has come on. So that must be a distance thing. It must be when it reached the top of the descent, something like that. We shall find out. By the way, this all goes wrong, we'll just do a visual. Because the weather's more than good enough and I don't think the controller's going to mind too much. Yeah, thanks so much, Lisa Maggie. That's very kind. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for supporting us and coming along to watch the stream. Atis Maggie says, please do more flights in the US and make sure to visit O'Hare and Midway in Chicago. I'm sure you'll love them. By the way, how's it going with Concorde? Concorde is not going great. It's still there, still haunting me. So I will get back onto it at some point soon, I hope. And we will indeed do more at Chicago. Oh, sorry, US flights, including Chicago. I want to fly the Frontier fly into Chicago. There must be a Dash 8 airline that uses Chicago. There we go. Here we are heading to Hidno. So yeah, no, we'll definitely find an excuse to fly around America. because I'd love to go to Chicago O'Hare. I spent so many hours on Flight Simulator 98 because it used to load you up at Meigs. So I'd load up at Meigs in the 737, the biggest airplane Flight Simulator 98 came with. And then I would just fly from Meigs to O'Hare and so on, round in circles. Excuses, never flown in the US. Thank you. Yep, that's a perfectly good excuse.
MD-88 on a 8-mile final.
This is default scenery for this side of the flight, yes. Air Canada and Porter are the only Dash 8 operators to O'Hare. Perfect. Horizon is the only American Dash operator. Okay.
295. I'm 295, 5 miles from Hidno, cross Hidno out above 3,000, cleared out now, approach runway 32.
Cross Hidno at or above 3,000, cleared RNAV 32, Bahamas 295. So that's fine. We're going to be 3.5 at Cuddly, so we're going to be above 3,000 there, but we need to put in the lower altitudes in the window. So for now, 3.
157.
Oh, it's turning a little bit early. I guess that's fine. Let's get the speed back now. He wasn't fast, so let's get below 200. We'll come back to minimum clean of about 170. I think 175 is normal. So it wants 3.5 at Cuddly. There you go. 170 knots, Bahamas 295. Oh, that's easy for us.
American 1701, wind 130 at 11, runway 3.
Right, next altitude we can go down to is 2,000 on this leg, so I'll put 2,000 in there. Still got outsell. I'm going to wind the heading bug all the way around, ready for the approach. Oh, forget that. Strong winds, yeah, blowing us from behind. 22 knots, going to push us through that approach path. So this is going to be somewhere to the left of final, like that. I hope this works. 200 knots for flat 5 is the limit. Yep. Let's go to flat 5 now so I don't forget it and embarrass us. Normally you could do flat 5 when you're on final. It's okay, reducing final approach speed, Bahamas 295. Now that's going to be a bit tricky. Because we can't go to flat 10 without putting the gear out. Because if I... Well, let's do it. Flat 10 is 181, so let's go flat 10. But I think we'll get a gear horn now. Yeah, alright, gear down. We're going to use a lot of power now. Going down to 2,000 feet, but I'm actually going to press VNAV, which has gone armed in white. It's 160 knots. It's doing 800 feet per minute. Let's bring it back a little bit. So next is the Dilpay at 1612. We need 700 feet per minute. So if I do 600, we'll catch that. Let's do 500. Hopefully this works out. Let's go flat 15.
Thomas 295, wind 310 at 11 knots, runway 32 clear to line number 3. Your traffic is a Dash 8 on a 7-mile final for runway 32.
Clear to land 32, Bahamas 295. Okay, we're clear to land. So let's see how this all works out. Speed's coming back, but you don't want to go to flight idle. Gear down flat 15. It will just reduce speed so quickly. See, this is the problem because there's dashes ahead of us. So to Dilpay, we only need to do 600 feet per minute. We're doing 5. Let's just try and let's sort this out now. So I'm just going to do 200 feet per minute and force it onto that. Get the power on. I really don't want to fly flat 35 level. I'll wait till we're going down because it's just going to be so hideous. There's VNAV path. Good stuff. Now, unfortunately, it's got outsell, and I don't want it to level off, so I'm going to get rid of the outsell. I want it to keep going down. There's a radio altimeter, 2525, which all makes sense, so we're in the right place. The QNH is correct. Going altitude, 2,000 feet, so that's in there. We will put our arm outside if we go around. So it should start down at about 600 feet per minute. Let's go to flat 35. And instead of 25% like it was for flat 15, I'm expecting to need about 35. It's going to be a bit more because we're basically flying level here. Please go down. There it goes. Dilpay at 1612 we're looking for. Right. How's that working out for us? A bit less power. We will have a replay after this, of course. Right, landing checklist. Landing gear down, 3 greens. Flaps, 35, and indicated. Condition levers, here we go, of course. Reduced MP, max.
American 1701, welcome to NASA.
Bleed air 1 and 2
Correction, right
on
Delta,
and
left
min.
on hotel, taxi
And that gets rid of that amber warning because it's just warning us there's too much bleed air demand. Let's give the camera crew a ding.
And runway 08 Tango, give way to
Right, next is after landing.
MD88 will be passing left.
So
to
hopefully
right on hotel.
1612 at Dilpay, which is looking good. So there you go. They coded all this so well. I'm so impressed with this add-on. It's amazing. Let's get rid of this chart now.
Oscar 22 Golf, reduce speed 200 knots.
2,000 feet for the go-around altitude. Yeah, we're messing things up for the non-Dash 8 traffic out there. Right, so I said about 35. We're landing at about 25 tons. So I reckon 35 or close to it is a good reference point for the power. And it was, like I said, 25 for flat 15. So 35 there. Now there's no point being fast flat 35. It's not gonna help us because it just means the nose is lower. So flat 15 you do not want to be slow. Adding a couple of knots can help you out. But as you can see, I'm making tiny percentage changes to the torque, and it really does impact your speed. Anyway, we are clear to land. Got the excuses in. There we go. We will have a full-on replay. Love it. This has been a long approach for the passengers. Done the whole thing at basically at the app. Let's get the heading bugger lines. So pretty much straight ahead, and the wind is from the nose, 15 knots. No problem there. Oof. Right. Here we go then. So power's set. The trim. Remember, it is a manual trim aeroplane, but of course, if you've let the autopilot fly the approach, as long as you don't do anything when you disconnect. Let's just add another torque percent there. If you don't do anything and the speed's where it is, you shouldn't need to do anything. So that's autopilot off. Unbelievably, it's quite out of a bit out of the yaw there. Needs a bit of right rudder. And a bit of right aileron maybe. Interesting. Well, we're not going to worry too much about that. Yeah, VNAV working very nicely. A little bit of power. Doesn't look like we've got any pappies.
Thank you for current information. Expect practice for the visual approach runway 32.
Vectors for the visual runway 32, Oscar 22 Golf.
So we are clear to land. I can see the Dash 8 came off to the right. That's what we'll plan to do as well. Not fiddling with the power. So about a mile to go. Should be 300s. So the trick here, we're going to trickle the power off as we enter the flare and raise the nose. Getting a little bit low there. There's 100s.
November 851 Tango Bravo, follow that traffic, clear visual approach, runway 32.
Clear visual 32,
Trickling the power back now. Raising the nose.
Tango Delta Bravo, NASA approach.
Hold it there.
1 second.
There's touchdown. Spoilers are up. Into disc. We've missed that exit. So we'll take the next one. They did well to go there. Right. So yeah, so there's that balance flat 35. But that felt pretty good to me. I was pretty happy with that. So we will look at the replay. Was it minus 74? There we go. Now, if I vacate here, I'm going to go right. Next available right. Thank you, Bahamas 295. Excellent stuff. So we'll get out the way of everyone else because he's trying to get everyone to land. But yeah, that was great fun. Absolutely, so much fun coming back to the dash. But yeah, thanks, Adam. Sounds like it probably looked alright on the feet per minute as well. We need emergency services to get rid of the butter. Yeah, it's the trick to the dash is there's two methods to land it. There's one for the flat 35 and one for the flat 15, and I'll do a video with them because I'm literally just doing what I remember doing in the real aircraft, and it seems to be modelled nicely by the team. I'll be curious to see what the pitch was really, because I probably floated that a little bit long, so the nose was I kept raising the nose, so yeah, maybe a little bit nose high, but anyway, we won't whinge. Right, let's clear the runway. Flight taxi, APU start, Get rid of the landing lights, get the taxi light on, get the beacon to red, get the bus tie to tie for some reason, turn off the fuel pumps and the standby stuff. Flaps to 0. Maybe should have done it after the hydraulics were done. But yeah, thank you all for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned something new about the Dash, but if not, a bit of fun just to chat along on a Sunday afternoon. Where are we going to park? Let's go park up at the main terminal. As we're in Bahamas there, it seems silly to park out here. And then we can finish that after landing flow. Oh, November 851 Tango Bravo, someone's a Steve E. Canevo fan. So Steve O. Canevo has actually commented on the channel. Yeah, that's my starstruck moment. Had a comment from Stevie O. But yeah, he's absolutely love his channel. And I knew I recognised that Tango Bravo call sign. So how funny. Thanks, Rithik. Thanks, Sven. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Captain. Was there? Yeah, we have indeed done our first proper US stream, and we got through it with control at the startup, which was the scary part, and on approach. Right, let's finish this then. So generator come online, and after landing, oh yeah, control lock. I keep forgetting that. Control lock on. Oh, I forgot that. There's so many things in the after landing flow in this airplane. It's quite remarkable. Transponder, radar, flaps, tanks. They're set to taxi, but the yaw damper can come off. We can get rid of the flight directors by going to standby. Taxi, red, lights, pitot static. Yeah. Pitot static, window heat, ice protection. So window heat off, ice protection is off. Main bus tie, APU start, BDO 1 and 2. Can go to on and min as you'd want them for the taxi in, especially on a hot day like this. That's good. Next is going to be shut down. Good stuff. Right, let's keep getting out of the way. Sorry to everyone behind. Yeah, Tango Bravo. I mean, Stevie-O does fly around this area, doesn't he? Yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm not sure when, but I'm sure we'll get to it fairly soon. Yeah, Pete White. You absolutely. You do have to taxi around to finish the checklist in this airplane. Yeah, it's quite mad. Thanks, Brian. Glad you enjoyed it. Glad you've been listening. Well, let's go park up right here. Yeah, just keep driving around finishing those checklists. Yeah, the amount of switches, if you do it in one go, it's remarkable.
Jet 93, Lima Echo, turn left, head in 140.
Turning 140, Jet 140, 93 Lima Echo.
Checkpoint says, welcome distraction and very battery. Yeah, thanks, Checkpoint. Thanks for coming along. I hope you feel better soon. Phil Norbeck says, you make me feel like I want this plane.
I'm trying to get you in before I sign off.
Where should we go? Let's take Alpha 3. I'm feeling important today. We'll park right up. Lucky passengers. Something like that. Should be on the centre line. Yeah, perfect.
Turn right, head in.
So you would have a marsh there. That's my excuse for cheating. Right. Parking brake is now set. And let's get rid of that nose light. That should have been off. So we can shut it down because this is X-Plane and the replay function is completely native and therefore works. So taxi light off. Emergency brake on. So now we do the standby high PTU control. Power levers disc. And then we bring them to start feather. So all the way back. And now they sit there for 30 seconds. So there's start feather. Good. Passenger signs come off. No, I wouldn't do that now. I'd wait till the engines are properly shut down. I think that's what we did. Nose wheel steering off. Anti-skids. Leave it on. If you're going out again, you'd leave it on. Bleed 1 and 2. Min. Off. APU, GPU on APU. Emergency lights. Definitely off. Condition levers 30 seconds. And then we just do the lights and battery master. I'm sure we're going to leave as they are. Oh, the first officer's just complaining just now. Phil Norbeck says, does anyone make the shorter 100 and 200? Oh, I think I've seen them. Rithvik says, I'm not a fan of the Dash 8, but you make me want it. I don't know, explain. There you go.
wind 310.
Time shut down.
32 clear for takeoff. Left turn on cost roof.
Now the passengers can walk around. And when the props spin down a bit.
November 808 Tango, runway 32 lines, wait behind.
If you forget, oh, there's our colleague, excellent. If you don't put them to start feather before shutdown, and I've seen this happen, it's possible in the real aircraft, if you bring them straight from max and you just turn them off without going to start feather, and the reason you do that is if you're doing them, big topic. But anyway, there you go, there's the doors opening. You get that constant warning. So at some point in the taxi in, we should have gone to system, doors, system. Yeah, if you bring them straight to fuel off, and there are very rare reasons why you might do that, then you've got the propellers just whizzing round, because if they don't go start feather where they go course to the air in terms of spinning, then they actually can spin for ages. It takes ages to do it. But there we go, all parked up. Right, let's disconnect from FlyJSim. So thank you to our colleagues for flying along. Great fun to have other Dash 8s. Yeah, really like that. And there's another one over there. Excellent, excellent stuff. So we held everybody up, as is correct. Oh, we should have turned the beacon off as the props came down. And I'm going to disconnect.
Legend 9, truly America, to center maintained.
And let's go for the replay. So thank you all for coming along, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. Let's go and see. You might hear some fireworks going off tonight outside my my window. Let's reverse it. I wonder if we replay, do the doors close in reverse? I can't believe they would. Look at that. Brilliant. So good. Right. So there we go. Flat 35 on final. So I got it all the way into that. So I've seen landings with the... Yeah, so what are we at? 4 degrees. So that is a relatively high for flat 35. So that's because we sort of floated along a little bit. Oh, hello. First officer's arrived. Is annoyed that there's so many controls on the desk. Yeah, you're very welcome, James. Thanks for coming along. This video will go on YouTube later, Jan. Yep. So yeah, that's relatively high, 4 degrees pitch. Ignore everything else that's just left over. But yeah, so we did that by dragging out the landing a bit. But it's just a technique. It's better to get the nose up, but no more than that, really. So powering back, holding the nose, and it's just a combination of the two, and then you let it settle. Yeah, that was... I'd have been happy with that in the real thing. It's they've done the flat 35 landings very well, and those don't come up so quickly in the real aircraft. I'm not sure. This is a replay, so don't trust the replay to tell you if we're doing it exactly right. But in the real aircraft, there's a slight delay as the shock absorbers haven't compressed yet, and then they come up about now. Zunk. That was another thing I've done twice now. Shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go to disc. You go flight idle. So we don't go to idle until... by the way, you can see that with the nose up, those wheels aren't quite vertical. There's a slight problem with it. But yeah, with the... On landing, you're not going to go to flight idle. Oh, you can't see it now. But yeah, you can see we've got about 30% on still. You go to flight idle after main gear touchdown. So cruising along, trickling the power off, touchdown, flight idle, and then you get the nose down, which I didn't do, and then you go to disc. And the reason is, what happens here is that if you have the propellers up here and you put them to disc, you get a huge amount of drag off the top of this propeller as well. So what happens is it actually drags the nose back up again, and again the tail strike is a real risk on this airplane. So touchdown and then flight idle only, get the nose down, you just let it come down, don't need to do anything exciting, and then go to disc. Otherwise, you'll end up in a not so comfortable position of finding the nose re-rising potentially. Roberts was November 851 Tango Bravo, big Steve-O fan. Excellent, yeah, no surprise. Right, let's jump back into a passenger view. That's been great fun. I've really enjoyed it. This is a fantastic add-on. Really impressed. Should we go for this view this time? I think this one's going to work. We'll do a proper landing gear view. We're going slower, so trying to work out which altitude works for the replay. It's going to be a bit of a mission. Outro music indeed, aviation. Yep, coming very shortly. with that headwind and that speed, let's go for something like that. Hopefully that'll work. Yeah, we'll go for this view as we did the other one last time. And I'm going to say thank you all so much for coming along today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really, really enjoyed it as ever. I will have more videos. I've got several videos, including my guide on control setup for this airplane coming out very soon, if not tonight. We've also got other videos and guides coming to the channel, more live streams and airplanes, of course, as ever. Thank you to those of you watching along at home. Thank you to those who've joined in with the chat on Twitch and YouTube. Thank you to the moderators for keeping us safe, and thank you to those who very kindly donated. I really, really appreciate it. And if you are leaving on the way out, if you have enjoyed it, do please leave a like on YouTube. It makes a big difference to the channel. We'll see you again in another of our videos or live streams. So do please keep safe and well. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.